Welcome to the Blue Collar Baddies podcast. This is episode number 33. This episode is sponsored by the Blue Collar Baddies merch page. The proceeds from your purchase will go towards travel expenses for making the next episode happen. Be on the lookout for FR hoodies coming soon. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. Today we're here with Morgan. Tell me what you do.
So I am in the power generation industry.
Okay.
So I work with generators, but then I also have experience with auto mechanics.
Nice.
So I have a degree in auto mechanics.
Okay.
And then I went to Cummins and worked as a power gen field technician.
Dang.
I was one of their first in their power gen technical apprenticeship program during COVID.
Okay.
So it was really pretty strenuous.
Yeah.
But I did complete their certificate program, but I opted out of the actual diploma program because at the end of the day, as much as I like field work, I really am better at management and sales.
Right. Cool. So how did you originally start getting into all of that?
So, I actually came from the medical industry.
Okay.
So part of what I do to highlight is that, women can really do anything.
Yeah.
And so I went from medical to mechanical because I got divorced and I really couldn't just sustain on one income.
Right.
And I know that construction is a really lucrative opportunity to make some money.
For sure.
And you can excel very quickly in the industry. So I kind of picked it originally to go into the automotive industry because a lot of things scared me.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of construction with my friends, my family, on my own home. My stepdad was the head electrical inspector for the city of Longmont.
Okay.
So I knew there was a lot of money to be made, but I also had to kind of make some decisions as a single parent, like what can I do to get back to the right financial bracket?
Yeah.
And so I went back to school in my late 30s, and I got a degree in auto mechanics.
Nice.
And while I was getting that degree, I worked with my program director where he was authorized to sign off on my hours.
Okay.
So I worked with him because he was a new program director, and as one of the oldest students in the class and a female, I really saw a place where we could sponsor each other.
Right.
He needed help and I needed help. So we worked really well together. He helped me, get the hours that I needed for that degree under his supervision, as opposed to doing a traditional path of going to a grease monkey and doing those lube tech hours there.
Right.
But also during that same time, I had received a scholarship. And I went to a scholarship luncheon, and I met a woman who asked me very boldly, why didn't I work for her?
Oh.
And I was very shocked and very put on blast. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, can you just tell me who you work for?
Right.
And she's like, well, I work for Cummins. And I was like, snap, my app is in, but you didn't hire me.
Oh.
So once that happened, the trajectory of my life really changed, right? I mean, it just took one other woman to see me as me.
Awesome. I love that.
And see the potential. And so she said, someone will reach out to you. Now, at this time, I didn't realize that she was the vice president of human resources.
Oh, wow.
So the following week, I got a phone call, and they said on behalf of her that they needed to find a job that would be suitable to me. And so I wasn't really ready for electricity.
Yeah.
Again, I was a little bit nervous about it just because it's hazardous, right? And if you make one wrong step, you can really put a lot of people, including yourself, in danger.
For sure.
But when the opportunity presented itself and they told me that they had this first ever Power Gen Technical Apprenticeship program during COVID,
Yeah.
I took it.
Right.
So I walked on as a Cummins Power Gen field technician. And that just opened the doors for me to really have an understanding of that my medical skills and how I operated business are really transferable. You're just, instead of staying inside of an office, you're outside.
Yeah.
Sometimes there feels like there's more variables, but there's really not. It's just a different space, right?
Yeah.
We're just talking about apples to oranges now.
Right, yeah.
So once I completed that job, then I went out on the market and I got a job as an inside sales rep. And I really loved that job. I was responsible for, making sure that all of the field employees, the sales reps, and everybody who's coming through the office, like I was their one point of contact to make sure that power was getting where it needed to be, and HVAC equipment.
Yeah.
The company that I worked for was doing like $8 to $10 million a month.
Dang.
And so that's a lot of stuff that had to go in and out. And, you know, also being a single parent and always wanting to be getting the overtime, I would always go to work. I'd bring my youngest daughter with me. And she's amazing. She's been a forklift spotter since she was about 10. She knows how to use tools. She's also a filer, an administrative person. So that was a really great job. But they went into a merger situation, which stunted my career path.
Okay.
And so just knowing that construction, again, is so lucrative and there's a lot of moving pieces and parts in this industry, I took my shot. I looked at what everything was, and I changed kind of facets in the industry, and I went into scaffold. Again,
Gotcha.
Scaffold is really scary to me because I'm afraid of heights.
Wow.
But I needed the job, and I needed the next step in the career progression.
Right.
And so in that position, it was really different because I was the project estimator, the project designer, and the project manager.
Gotcha.
On top of managing the account.
Yeah.
And making sure bills are getting paid, POs are put in place.
Right.
But it was really interesting because it really put me in a different position where I really had to convince my crew of scaffold builders that they could trust me, that I was there to help them.
Okay.
And that at the end of the day, when we work together, it works better.
Yeah.
You know? So that was a really great opportunity. And then I was quickly approached by another company that brought me back into the power generation in rentals. And I really loved that job. But within 20 days of signing, another merger was released.
Golly.
And so kind of the whole culture of that company fell out.
Right.
And I really, for the last 6 months, have found myself standing on a glass foundation.
Yikes.
And so I recently decided to just do what I've always done and take the next shot.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking for another job.
Nice. Well, I mean, motivation and the drive is there, so I'm sure you'll find something great.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of good opportunities are already happening, but just, you know, having the self-confidence as a woman in this industry, knowing that it's typically always been said that this is a male-dominated industry,
right.
but the times have changed. This is just a male-populated industry.
Yeah.
The females have been here for a long time.
And we're dominating now.
We're starting to claim our own space.
Yeah. Well, speaking on that line, what specific challenges have you faced as a woman in the industry?
I mean, honestly, you know, I got a pretty foul mouth.
Yeah. You spit in.
I mean, and I could take the best of them. I'm one of the only girl in my family, so it's always been like that. I would probably describe it, you know, a pilot versus a sailor's mouth. Okay. But also at the same time, that doesn't mean that what everyone says to me is always appropriate.
Right.
Or the way that they say that. And so, I mean, definitely, you know, just the way that people view me or the way that they approach me sometimes is not really appropriate.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, but it's also kind of par for the course in having the right thick skin and also knowing when to say, you know what, you've crossed a line.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
And that's the hardest part I think all of us as women have to face is knowing when or how your line has been crossed.
Yeah.
And then the more difficult part is whether or not someone's going to support you in saying, hey, this line has been crossed.
Yeah. Makes sense. Got to have that balance and know how to deal with it at the same time. Yeah. As a kid, what did you think you were originally going to be?
Oh, this is great. So as a kid, I actually went in 10th grade and I took the auto mechanics class at the local alternative school. right? And so back then, when I was going to school, not to age myself, it was mostly males, right?
Yeah.
So it was just me and my best friend, and we were in auto mechanics class because we were always hanging out with our brothers,
Yeah.
trying to fix cars. And so I thought, instead of having to rely on my brothers, I want to know how to do it myself.
For sure.
So I took that class, and I remember very distinctly that we were doing the drum brake section. And I had asked my teacher, how did I use a brake drum spring tool to release the spring off the brake drum?
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure, and I knew that there were a lot of bad repercussions if you didn't use it right. So I was really a little bit hesitant to use it. But I had enough courage to ask, right? And so I went and I asked my teacher. All the other boys were around, and I said, hey, how do you use this tool? And so he takes the tool from me and he goes, you go like this. And then he walked away from me. And I was really mad. I mean, I'm probably 15 or 16 at this point. And so the teenage in me turned around and said, and I said, it doesn't work. That didn't help me.
Yeah.
So I've always had like an inclination to working with my hands. But again, it just wasn't really built out the way that it is now.
Right.
Now they have the CTE pathways, and they're introducing it at construction stuff, and alternative ways to make money without having to go through a traditional college career. Fast forward, when I went back to college, that same teacher was one of my program directors.
Oh my gosh.
And so he didn't realize who I was.
Yeah.
And I went to him and I told him, I said, just so you know, that is not the right way to use the spring brake drum tool.
That's funny.
And he just stopped and looked at me and thought, I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
And so then I just reminded him that I had taken his class, and whether or not he actually remembered or not, I'm not sure. But it was definitely a change in tempo, right, on how he reacted to me.
Yeah.
Almost 20-some years later, right, where he said, oh, I'm okay. He's like, well, do you know how to use the tool? And I'm like, I do, but I didn't learn it in your class.
Yeah. That's funny. I hope he felt a little bad.
I mean, I just was like, okay, but, then it was also, I had that same opportunity where the new program director, that I was able to assist that program director in modifying how they were implementing the curriculum.
Right.
So that way it was a really good fit for the students.
Nice.
And it was kind of a nice FU to him.
That's good.
Right?
That's awesome. Have you had any friction with other women on job sites?
Let's see. I have in this space. I do actually, I was working with some gals trying to put together a community event. And instead of this woman really identifying with our cause, she really took a transactional approach, which is very male initiated.
Yeah.
And so that was really hard to kind of make what we wanted to do in a collaboration space come to fruition.
Makes sense.
So it's hard when you have females that are so ingrained in the way that the old adage of this is a male-dominated space and this is how you're supposed to act, versus women who are coming up and they take the transformative approach where you leverage off of each other.
For sure.
To make sure that the collaboration benefits everyone and is exactly what you're going for in the end result.
Yeah, got to band together and not push each other out. Yeah. Is there anything you feel like you're missing out on by being in a blue collar versus being back in the nursing where you were?
So,
healthcare, I guess.
I mean, there's pros and cons. What I liked most about being in the medical industry and this industry is that you're still dealing with people.
Right.
Right. And one of the biggest challenges is that we are humans dealing with humans, right? Sometimes what the solution is that I bring to the table was a medical-based solution. Here it's a functional solution, right? How do we get things to work in the right space? I mean, I'll tell you, if if Starkey, who is a hearing aid manufacturer company, called me and said, Morgan, we want you to come work for us, I would leave in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And the reason is because the culture that they have is so inclusive.
Okay.
I've never seen a company be so pro-company.
Huh.
And the way that they treat their employees and their customers and what they do in the community and how they're American made. I mean, it really, every day, I strive to be a Starkey employee. I mean, honestly, I do.
Yeah.
But I strive to do that in the construction space where it can offer grit and grace.
Yeah.
And also cater to people, right? Just because we're in the construction industry, and even though I'm a female, that doesn't mean that we're not supposed to cater to each other, right? And so there is that one part where I have a little piece of my heart that wants to work for them. But at the end of the day, I know that, you know, this is really the space that I've worked hard to be in. Power generation is a niche market.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's everything proof. It's recession proof. We just learned that it was pandemic proof.
Right.
It's political proof. Even though fuel sources may be changing, the diesel engine for generators is never going to go away.
Right.
So there's a lot of job security in that, and knowing what that looks like in a rental space or on a property owner space. You know, I think that's a really versatile skill that's just what I've been looking for, right?
Yeah.
That real true job security moving
Stability.
forward.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, so if you were to explore a different trade within the blue-collar industry, what do you think it would be?
So, I mean, in my last position, I was also running pumps.
Okay.
And so that was pretty interesting. A lot of the dynamics of how pumps operate are very similar to generators. So I like learning a lot of different things. You know, power generation is my strong suit, but with that, I also have HVAC experience in commercial level. And then also pumps on a commercial level, and scaffolding on a commercial level.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't know if the microphone picked that up, but that was loud.
It was.
From all of your experiences, what would you say is your number one favorite tool that you couldn't live without?
Oh, I should have brought it up with me. It's really my safety vest.
Oh, really?
So honestly, you'll never see me when I'm working without my safety vest.
Yeah. Well, you wore it in when you got
I
here,
did.
didn't you?
I did, because there's so many pockets.
Right.
I mean, when you talk about, like, what does it functionally take to be a woman in the blue collar industry, you have to think about your clothes and your accessibility. What can you carry? What's going to last?
Yeah.
You know, can you do something that makes you feel like you're still a female, but you're also prepared to work?
Right.
Right. And so my safety vest is my number one lifeline, because I have my Cintas mouth breather, my gloves in case someone's injured. I have a whistle, and then I always have just random things that I need to have with me, right, to get the job done. Different tools, a flashlight. You know, my safety vest can carry so much, because when I try to buy pants in the industry, I can't put my hand in there.
Right.
It's not a functional fit.
It's so annoying.
So, you know, I've gone different routes with that, where it's like, you know, do I buy men's clothes? I buy men's clothes for the wintertime because they are warmer, but in the summertime, they're not as functional.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, my safety vest is my lifeline, and that's the one that I carry with me everywhere.
That's awesome. I only hear complaints about safety vests, so it's refreshing to hear somebody like actually need it.
Yeah, I mean, all the pockets. One company gave me a safety vest that had 2 pockets, and I was like, this is not going to work. I mean, I need the same amount of pockets as a man does,
Yeah.
if not more, because
Right.
I don't have pockets in my pants.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so let's go ahead and talk about, have you found any pants that will like kind of work for what you do?
So, I mean, I had to go kind of the more expensive way where True Work
Okay.
is definitely a brand that I use. And then Carhartt, but when it comes to women's Carhartts,
Yeah.
it's really, you're just paying for the label.
Well, I just can't get over the high rise. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like it around my belly, so.
Yeah. I mean, because it's like it should be a fit of what you normally wear, but in a safety fashion.
Yeah.
Right? But it's hard to find them without paying an arm and a leg for a pair of pants.
For sure. That you know you're going to tear up.
Right. Or that are going to last the appropriate amount of time for the price that you paid.
Right, yeah.
Right? I mean, because the expectation is that none of our clothing is going to last forever, but it's going to be a good buy, right? And it's going to get us through when we need to get through.
Right, yeah.
Which is a really great segue for boots for women in the industry.
Right.
So I wear a size 4 in kids.
Dang.
So I have a very small foot.
Yeah.
And when I first started in the industry trying to find work boots, it was insane. And at the time I was dating someone who's in the industry, and he knew I had small feet. And he said to me, well, just go buy them in kid size.
Yeah.
And I just stopped and I shook my head and I said, you know that this is America and that you can't buy kid size steel toes because we can't force children to work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I really had to go, and it's still a hunt for me to try to find the appropriate boot that is insulated, that has the right tread, that has the right seams, that has the right height for me, just because my feet are so small. So I've really turned to European providers.
Okay.
Because you can get them that small there.
Dang. That's good to know. So 4 in kids is like a 6, right? I wear a 6.5, and Xena goes down to a 5. These are composite toe, and I mean they're really comfortable. Women owned. They do a great job. And what about like any other PPE you have trouble with?
Let's see. Glasses.
Yeah.
Safety glasses that look like they're not men's glasses.
Right.
It's like every once in a while I'll see a gal who has really nice safety glasses that are prescription.
Okay.
Right? Because for me, contacts just don't work. I have to wear the hard glasses. So finding glasses that work is a huge struggle.
Yeah.
Ones that, again, like the last pair I bought, the only size I could find is a men's size. I had to have them. It wasn't I didn't have the luxury of like trying to shop or bargain. I just had to get them, and the only option from 4 different stores that I walked into were all male options.
Jeez.
So they were like,
yeah.
And then when I bend down,
they fall off.
They fall off.
Golly.
So I went to a different resort where I just bought disposable ones that go over my glasses until I can figure out a better solution.
Okay, yeah. I don't have to really wear safety glasses, but I taught a car maintenance class to a group of 8-year-old girls, and I bought pink, just the cheapo pink safety glasses. They loved them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any embarrassing job site stories you want to share?
So I do. This was one where I was a little bit shocked. I had a customer one time just yell at me on the phone. So we had been going back and forth. The job site was, moving in its phases, foundations being poured, columns are going up, walls are coming in, but they were going to need some scaffold at some point. And so I had written a ROM, rough order of magnitude estimate for him. And then as we get closer, right, job site conditions are changing, a new walk has to be done, making sure how we're going to bring material out, what the other trades are going to do. And so once I realized that we were cutting off a significant amount of linear feet off of that original quote, I made the modification.
Right.
And I submitted it to him. And this gentleman calls me back, and I hadn't really ever talked with him that often. I went through another party at the job site, and he was kind of our go-between communicator. And so the actual signer calls me back and tells me, have I lost my effing mind? And I was taken back because I just saved the customer like $10,000.
Yeah.
And he told me, once I sign a quote, that's it. That's done. I don't want you to do anything else. And he said, why did you do that? And he's cussing at me constantly. I mean,
Golly.
The F-bomb is just dropping every other word. And I said, listen, sir, I'm an ethical seller. I'm not sure what you want me to do here. And he said, I really don't want you to change my quotes. I want you to do exactly what I tell you to do. And I said, okay. I said, well, I know that moving forward. Do you want me to change it back?
Yeah.
And he said, no, I just want you to know that that's how we do business moving forward.
Okay.
And I said, okay. But then when I realized the amount of scaffold work that we were doing, it was in his best interest to keep that number the way that it was so that he was eliminating change orders.
Oh.
But the way that he approached me was so off the cuff.
Yeah.
And it was so off color. And so I just kept following his lead. And I said, sir, here's what we can do. I said, I hear what you're saying. I said, I'll do it. I'll do my best for you. I'll be out there on Saturday working with my crew.
Yeah.
So that way we can get your scaffold built. And he said, all right. He said, well, from here on out, know this. I'm never going to answer your emails. So don't send me one. He said, but every time you call my phone, you will get my first priority. And so that was kind of an embarrassing story because I was really taken off put by his demeanor.
Yeah.
It really felt hostile at first.
For sure.
It really seemed like by saving him money, I thought I was doing the right thing to him, but being new in that industry at that time, I didn't understand the magnitude of what we were doing.
Yeah.
But it was also really relieving because my favorite type of person on job sites are the curmudgeons. I'm a glutton for punishment because I like to infuse sunshine and happiness into everything, right? I'm just romantic about hope.
Yeah.
And so, from that point forward, we had a great working relationship. I never emailed him. I just went ahead and texted him or called him. And whenever I called, he'd say, oh, Morgan, it's so great to hear from you.
Oh, my gosh.
When I left that company and I moved to another company, one of my coworkers had to call me and said, can you call this customer because he won't allow me on site because he only wants to work with you.
Wow.
And so I told him, I said, well, do you really want me to do that? And he's like, literally, I'm sitting out here in the truck and they will not let me on the job site.
Dang.
And so I said, well, okay, I don't have his number. Can you give it to me?
That's wild.
Or you can give him my phone number and tell him to call me.
Yeah.
And then we can get you on the job site. So it's kind of an embarrassing and an interesting story all in one.
Yeah.
But it also kind of goes back to, that language that's used in the construction space and how someone may come at you, but it's really all about your reaction to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, some of that's just not necessary.
Some of it is not necessary, but also,
at least be polite, dude.
I mean, it was a huge confrontation, but it was also an excellent opportunity for a lot of learning.
Makes sense, yeah. And at least you took it and learned from it and didn't just get butthurt and decide to pull back and quit.
Yeah. So,
well, what is your favorite thing about either the job you're doing now or just the blue collar industry as a whole?
So I think blue collar industry as a whole, what I really like about it is that I have found my way to NAWIC, National Association of Women in Construction. And knowing that organization has been around for 70 years this year is really, really invigorating to know that I'm not the first woman to have to go through these trenches, but a path has been laid before us, right? And so we stand on so many women above us. And then I got so involved that I'm currently the vice president for the Denver chapter.
Nice.
And was voted in as the incoming president.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, what I really believe in is sponsorship, right? Giving back what was given to you, leveraging out, making sure that everyone involved is getting something out of it, and that we're all moving up to our individual goals.
Yeah.
Which we can't do that without collectively collaborating.
Right.
Especially to be competitive.
Yeah.
Right? And so finding that NAWIC space has really just elevated my career so quickly. And also my confidence.
Yeah.
Not having to worry about imposter syndrome, especially when people are projecting it onto you on job sites.
Right.
Or being able to say, you know what, I actually am the boss. So you do have to listen to what I'm saying, right? But not doing it from a place of power, but of a place of the correct hierarchy of what the industry says, right?
The way it should be.
And so that's that's been really fun and interesting, and then also I do so much volunteer work trying to get our next generation of emerging leaders, where we did a construction camp for our local high school students.
That's cool.
And then working with college students, and then also really focusing on the emerging leaders in the industry from that 0 to 5 space.
Okay.
Really making sure that we're supporting those women as they're getting into it, that they have not just that old feel of a mentor who's going to tell you, hey, if you go do this and you follow this path, then you can get to where I am. Where in sponsorship, especially through NAWIC, you can literally say, how did you get there? And the next woman is going to say, let me help you get there.
Yeah.
Let me take you to an event. Let me introduce you to some people. Let me help you find this network that you should be in.
Right.
That maybe this one that you're in currently isn't going to serve your best aspect of what you're doing in the construction industry.
Yeah.
Right? And even though we all think of construction as a blue collar industry, it really is an A to Z space because we have our property investors, we have the architects that are involved, we have the communities that they have to serve, and so when you look at NAWIC as a whole, all of those women fill that space. And so whenever you encounter something, you have a lifeline immediately.
For sure. Yeah, the amount of connections, and I haven't been actually part of it that long, but Rebecca, I don't know if you know Rebecca Hustis.
Oh yes.
Yeah, she's the one who kind of pushed me to go ahead and start the podcast, and because I was like, hey, I have this crazy idea. She's like, hell yeah, do it. And then she connected me with the whole setup here and everything. So the connections are crazy in NAWIC.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, one of my immediate past president, she used the phrase, I bleed NAWIC red, and it's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love what women can do, and when you're really looking at what women do in the space, when we're talking about, maybe you're a flagger, maybe you're, just the person who moves the equipment from A to Z. Maybe you're the driver. Maybe you are the drywaller. Maybe you are the project manager. Maybe you are the CEO of the company.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, that you've taken this one small idea and you brought it into something bigger, and you don't have to worry about unconscious bias from any of the ladies,
right?
Because they already understand the stigma and are working to raise awareness to defeat that stigma.
Yeah, I love that. It's awesome. So if you had advice for someone who wants to end up where you are, what would it be?
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Absolutely. When I go out and I talk with high school students, and they've honed in on where it is that they want to be, then I absolutely look around within my network and say, hey, I've got this kiddo. Would you be willing to work with them? Can you sponsor them at any level, right? Sponsorship in time, right? Like, can you have a conversation? Can you help them understand what this looks like? Because sometimes we all think that we know where we want to be, but you end up a little bit somewhere different. Because sometimes in the journey you find something that is a little bit better than what you thought you were looking for to begin with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how I ended up in spray foam, so.
Yeah. Yep.
And do you have any big upcoming plans? I know you said you were looking to kind of switch your job around, but
so I mean, I'm definitely looking for a better fit in this market space, but also with this upcoming next year as being the incoming president with NAWIC, I'm really excited. I'm super excited that you're doing this podcast. One of my goals is that I saw that PBS on a national level has a women in trades component. Really? And it's women in skilled trades segment. And I just happened to find a woman who works at Rocky Mountain PBS. So I've already pitched the idea of trying to get a local show about the women in this market and what they do to see if we can make that going. So that's my big audacious goal.
That's awesome.
Is to try to find the space with PBS for NAWIC women to highlight what they do in the industry.
That's huge. That's pretty cool. I never would have thought about going like that big, that direction. Yeah. That's cool. All right. And then we'll link your social medias. and all that? Or do you post on social media?
I do.
Okay, cool.
I do.
Yeah. And is there anything else you want to add?
No, but thank you for doing this. High five.
Thank you for coming.
I mean, all of our blue collar baddies out there, we need you, we want you, and we're here to support you. And especially if you're interested in NAWIC, let us know, because that is a great place to be.
Hell yeah.
So,
All right, cool.
perfect.
Thanks. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. All the links and products we mentioned today will be listed in the description. If you're a woman in a blue-collar industry and you're interested in being the focus of the next episode, or you're a small business that would like to sponsor an episode, reach out to us in the link below.